Ever since the addition of Chase Young, San Francisco's defensive line has been terrorizing quarterbacks. But in this recent game against the Philadelphia Eagles, Young didn't have any sacks, nor did Bosa, but rather, two under-radar players got 3 sacks in this game. Those players were Javon, Kinlaw, and Kalia Davis. So in this video, I want to break down their performances on the day, as well as break down Kalia Davis's career up to this point, and what we can realistically expect out of both of these players going forward. Starting out with the young player Kalia Davis, he was selected in the same draft as Brock Purdy in the 6th round, but he had an injury to his ACL, so his redshirt season was basically last year, meaning he's finally getting the opportunity to get into games and play. But who is Kalia Davis besides just a 6th round selection? Davis started his football career at West Florida Tech, and he was an inside linebacker rather than the defensive tackle position we see in him today. But what I want to focus on here is how quick Davis was on the field. He looked like one of the most explosive linebackers in the state of Florida and had several offers from schools, including UCF, East Carolina, Tulane, Alabama A&M, and Alcorn State. Kalia Davis decided to commit to UCF, where his freshman year he would play linebacker, but that wouldn't last long because during his sophomore year he decided to change positions, mainly due to his weight he was putting on. During the 2019 season, Davis had 27 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks in 13 appearances. He opted out during the COVID season of 2020, and he started the first 5 games of the 2021 season, where he registered 17 tackles, 4.5 for loss, and 1 sack, but missed the rest of the season with that torn ACL I mentioned earlier. So with Davis's somewhat short college career out of the way, scouts had the opportunity to dive a little bit deeper into the player Davis was. First thing they noticed was his height and weight. He came in right around 6'1", 6'2", weighing 300 pounds. But most impressive was probably his bench press, where he put it up 30 times. But the thing that stood out to scouts wasn't his absurd strength, but rather his athletic ability. He had great bend, but also would just beat lumbering guards at times thanks to his quick first step. That first step is something Chris Kasarik, the Niners defensive line coach, prioritizes in his defensive line players. But he also is a perfect match for Kalia Davis because coming out of college, because he was a linebacker most of his life, he had kind of limited pass rush moves as well as run defense moves. So now, entering a system with Chris Kasarik, I think he'll continue to improve and grow on these skill sets. Kalia Davis to me is a guy like DJ Jones. He's more of a rotational pass rush piece, but he'll also disrupt the run. So let's look how Kalia Davis is looking after being healthy and having a little bit of time to absorb the San Francisco scheme. You'll see Kalia Davis working on the guard in this case, and what I love about Davis throughout this game is his work ethic as well as how quickly his first step is. Here you can see how he breaks off his guard and really helps get the tackle on Marcus Mariota. Now, going back to Kalia Davis's athleticism, you see what I mean by sometimes he just makes guards look silly. This is thanks to his athleticism. He's able to put pressure on Hurts almost instantly. And while this doesn't result in Kalia Davis getting the tackle, I think it's encouraging for his first game to make such an impact on the game. While I've been highlighting Davis's athleticism, I also think he's getting a pretty nice push in some of these plays. Here you can see how he just drives back the guard almost all the way into Jalen Hurts' lap. The best play by far for Kalia Davis though was his sack, where he was first blocked by 2 men and then fought off his block to get to the quarterback. While many people won't be impressed by this play, I think Kalia Davis has a nice future with the Niners, potentially as a rotational pass rush piece. However, with that being said, we now need to move on to the other player, Javon Kinlaw. And maybe the most impressive fact about this season is Javon Kinlaw's health. He's been healthy for the first time, and his skill is finally showing on the field. One of the biggest parts about Javon Kinlaw's success in this Eagles game was his pursuit. Whether it be going against a running back, he was constantly flying towards the ball. But let's look at this sack on the day. He just drives his guard all the way back before finally pancaking him and getting to Jalen Hurts himself. I thought Javon Kinlaw played phenomenal this game, but he did it more than just once. Earlier in the game, he got this sack, and while the whole defensive line was collapsing in on Jalen Hurts, I believe Javon Kinlaw has really been a nice addition this season. I mean, when you're thinking about it, San Francisco, in reality, probably wasn't expecting much out of an often injured player. But this year, he's stopping runs, getting to the quarterback, and really looking like the first round pick they hoped him to be. With this recent injury to Eric Armstead, I expect Javon Kinlaw to go out there and actually perform at a high level. But I also expect to see players like Kalia Davis get more opportunities, and I'm excited to see what they do with them. However, these are just some of my thoughts on Kalia Davis and Javon Kinlaw, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about these players down below. It would also mean a ton to me if you liked and subscribe, and as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.